Hello and welcome to Mind Matters, the podcast that explores the fascinating frontiers of human potential. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're diving into something truly mind-bending, the quantum mind unveiled. We'll be exploring how our thoughts might actually shape our reality at the quantum level.
Thanks for having me, Terry. I'm Dr. Patrick Bateman, quantum physicist and consciousness researcher. At the Institute for Advanced Cognitive Studies, I've spent the last 15 years studying the intersection of quantum mechanics and human consciousness.
We're so fortunate to have you with us today, Dr. Bateman. I'm especially excited because we'll be breaking down these complex concepts in simple, beginner-friendly terms.
Absolutely. The quantum nature of thought is actually quite accessible when explained properly. I'm looking forward to discussing how observation affects reality, the power of intent, and practical techniques anyone can use to harness their mind's potential.
Perfect. Throughout our conversation, we'll explore everything from understanding quantum thought fundamentals to visualization techniques, meditation practices, and even how to overcome resistance to these new concepts.
I think listeners will be surprised by how these principles can be applied in everyday life to create meaningful change. The quantum mind isn't just theoretical physics. It's a practical approach to personal transformation. At its core, quantum thought is about understanding that our minds don't just passively observe reality, they actively participate in creating it. Think about the famous double-slit experiment in quantum physics. When particles are observed, they behave differently than when they're not being watched.
That's fascinating! So you're saying our observation actually changes physical reality at the quantum level?
Exactly, Terry. In simple terms, our consciousness interacts with the fundamental building blocks of reality. Our thoughts aren't just abstract concepts. They're energy patterns that influence the quantum field around us.
I've heard people talk about manifesting reality, but this sounds much more grounded in science.
It is. When we focus our attention on something, we're essentially directing energy toward a specific outcome. It's like tuning a radio to a particular frequency. The clearer our intent, the stronger the signal. This isn't mystical. It's the practical application of quantum principles to our everyday thought processes.
So our thoughts have real physical effects on the world around us?
Yes, but it's important to understand, this doesn't mean simply thinking about a sports car will make one appear in your driveway. It's more subtle. Our thoughts create patterns of probability that influence what we experience and how we interact with the world. The observer effect is perhaps the most fascinating aspect of quantum physics. Essentially, it tells us that particles exist in multiple possible states, called superposition, until they're observed. The act of observation itself causes the particle to decide which state to be in.
That sounds incredible. So how does this relate to our everyday thoughts and reality?
Think of it this way, Terry. Your mind is constantly observing possibilities. When you focus on something, a goal, a fear, even a simple thought, you're essentially collapsing all the possible outcomes into the one you're paying attention to.
So our focus actually determines which reality we experience?
In a very real sense, yes. It's not that you can instantly manifest a sports car by thinking about it, but your consistent focus directs your energy, decisions, and actions toward specific outcomes. We're constantly creating our reality through what we choose to observe and where we place our attention.
That puts a whole new spin on the idea of positive thinking, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's not just about being optimistic. It's about consciously choosing which potential reality you want to bring into existence through your focused attention. When we talk about intent in quantum thinking, we're really discussing focused attention with purpose. It's like a laser beam compared to regular light, much more concentrated and powerful.
Could you break down how someone might actually use their intent to influence their reality? It sounds almost magical.
It's quite practical, actually. Start with clarity. Be specific about what you want. Instead of thinking, I want to be happy, try, I intend to find joy in my daily interactions with others. The quantum field responds to precision.
So vague intentions create vague results.
Exactly. The second key is consistent focus. Think of it like tuning a radio. You need to stay on frequency. This is where simple daily practices like writing down your intentions or spending 5 minutes visualizing them can make a huge difference.
And what about the emotional component? I've heard that matters too.
Critical point, Terry. Emotions are the amplifiers of intent. When you combine clear intention with the feeling of already having achieved it, you create a powerful resonance in the quantum field. This is why gratitude practices work so well. They create that emotional alignment. Our beliefs act as quantum blueprints for reality. They're not just abstract thoughts. They're actual patterns of energy that shape what possibilities emerge in our lives.
That's fascinating. So our beliefs are essentially creating templates for our experiences.
Exactly. Think of your mind as a filter. If you believe opportunities are scarce, your quantum filter will screen out potential opportunities that are actually all around you. But if you believe opportunities are abundant, your filter allows you to perceive and act on them.
I've noticed that in my own life. When I'm in a negative mindset, everything seems to confirm that view.
That's the quantum principle at work. The simplest way to change your reality is to change your beliefs. When you shift from I can't to I can, you're not just being positive. You're literally altering the quantum possibilities that become available to you.
How can beginners start working with this principle?
Start by becoming aware of your current beliefs. Write them down. Then ask yourself, is this belief helping or limiting me? When you find limiting beliefs, consciously create new ones that serve you better. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It responds to whatever blueprint you give it. Visualization is really where the rubber meets the road with quantum thought principles. When you visualize, you're essentially programming your quantum filter to recognize opportunities aligned with your intentions.
I think many people struggle with visualization. They wonder if they're doing it right. Any tips for beginners?
Start simple. Don't worry about seeing crystal clear images. Begin by focusing on how your desired outcome would feel. Emotions create powerful quantum resonance. Try using all your senses. Imagine not just seeing success, but hearing the congratulations, feeling the satisfaction.
That's relieving. I've always been more emotionally oriented than visually oriented.
Perfect. Another beginner technique is the quantum snapshot. Take just 30 seconds, 3 times daily, to imagine a specific positive outcome. Consistency matters more than duration. And remember, your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. Both create neural pathways that influence your perception and actions.
So these small visualization practices actually reshape how we experience reality.
Exactly. You're training your mind to recognize and create pathways to your desired outcomes. It's less mystical and more practical than most people realize. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for accessing the quantum nature of mind. When we meditate, we're literally changing our brainwave patterns, shifting from the busy beta waves of everyday thinking to the calmer alpha and theta states, where quantum influence becomes much more accessible.
So meditation isn't just about relaxing. It's actually changing how our brain functions at a fundamental level.
Exactly, Terry. Even 5 minutes of daily meditation begins to create new neural pathways. For beginners, I recommend starting with a simple breath-focused practice. Just sit comfortably, close your eyes, and observe your natural breathing for 5 minutes.
That sounds manageable. What changes might someone notice as they develop a regular practice?
Initially, increase calm and clarity, but as you progress, you'll notice your thoughts becoming more intentional and less reactive. This is your quantum mind awakening. You're becoming an observer of your thoughts rather than being caught in them. From this space, you can more consciously choose which potential realities to focus on and manifest.
So meditation helps us access that quantum space where our thoughts can more directly influence reality.
Precisely. It's like clearing static from a radio signal. The clearer your mind, the more precise your quantum intentions become. Affirmations are essentially quantum programming instructions for your mind. When you repeat a positive statement with intention, you're creating neural pathways that make that reality more accessible to you.
It sounds simple, but I've tried affirmations before and sometimes felt like I was just saying empty words. Is there a right way to do them?
That's a common experience, Terry. The key is emotional congruence. An affirmation like, I am confident, only works when you can feel a sense of confidence as you say it. Start with affirmations you can believe in, even just a little.
So maybe instead of I'm a millionaire when I'm broke, I could say I'm becoming more financially aware every day?
Exactly. And try using present tense with ing verbs. I am creating abundance or I am developing confidence. These bridge the gap between your current reality and your desired state. For beginners, I also recommend saying affirmations while looking in a mirror. It creates a powerful quantum feedback loop.
I love that idea. How often should someone practice their affirmations?
3 times daily is ideal. Morning to set your intention, midday to reinforce, and evening to program your subconscious while you sleep. Remember, it's about consistent programming, not perfection. Journaling might sound simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful quantum tools available to us. When you write down your thoughts and intentions, you're taking something intangible and converting it into physical form. That's a quantum process in itself.
I've kept journals before, but I never thought of them as quantum tools. How exactly does writing help with manifestation?
When you journal, you're essentially making an agreement with the quantum field. The act of writing crystallizes your thoughts and gives them direction. For beginners, I recommend starting with a gratitude journal, listing 3 things you're thankful for each morning.
And that helps with manifestation, just being grateful.
Absolutely. Gratitude tunes your energy to a frequency of abundance rather than lack. Then, try what I call future journaling. Writing about events as if they've already happened. This sends a clear signal to your subconscious that this reality exists.
I love the idea of writing as if something has already happened. It feels more concrete than just thinking about it.
That's exactly why it works. The physical act of writing engages more of your brain and creates stronger neural pathways. It's quantum programming in its simplest form. Breathwork is often overlooked, but it's actually one of the most direct ways to influence your quantum energy field. When we breathe consciously, we're literally bringing new energy into our system and creating biochemical changes that affect our thought patterns.
It's amazing how something we do automatically can be so powerful when done with intention. What's a simple breathwork technique our listeners could try right now?
Try this. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, and pause for 2. This 4-4-6-2 pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which creates the calm mental state where quantum influence is strongest.
I'm already feeling more centered just trying that. How does this connect to energy alignment?
Your breath is like a bridge between your conscious mind and your energy field. When your breathing is chaotic, your thoughts scatter. When your breath is calm and intentional, your thoughts become more coherent and their quantum effect strengthens. It's really about creating coherence between your intention and your physical state.
So breathwork essentially prepares us to be better manifestors.
Exactly. It's the simplest way to clear energy blockages and create the internal conditions where quantum creation can happen. When we talk about growth through quantum principles, we're really discussing the expansion of what you believe is possible. Once you understand that your thoughts create ripples in the quantum field, you're no longer bound by conventional limitations.
That's fascinating. But how can beginners start to access this infinite growth potential? It sounds almost too good to be true.
Start with small experiments. Choose one area of your life where you'd like to see improvement. For 1 week, spend 5 minutes each morning envisioning that improvement is already complete. Notice how opportunities related to that goal seem to appear.
So we're essentially training ourselves to notice possibilities we might have overlooked before.
Exactly. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, begins to highlight opportunities aligned with your focus. The quantum field hasn't changed, but your perception of it has. That's the beginning of infinite growth.
It's like tuning a radio to pick up stations that were always broadcasting but we couldn't hear before.
Perfect analogy. Remember, growth isn't about forcing change. It's about aligning with possibilities that already exist in the quantum field. Developing a quantum creator mindset is about recognizing yourself as an active participant in reality creation, not just a passive observer. It's realizing that your thoughts are constantly shaping the world you experience.
That sounds empowering, but also a bit overwhelming. How can beginners start developing this mindset without feeling intimidated?
Start small. Begin each morning with a simple question. What reality do I want to create today? This shifts you from reaction to creation mode. Then choose one small aspect of your day to consciously create. Maybe it's having a productive meeting or a peaceful commute.
I like that approach, making it practical rather than abstract.
Exactly. Another beginner practice is the reality check. Pause 3 times daily and ask, am I creating what I want right now? Or am I on autopilot? This builds awareness of your creative power. Remember, quantum creators take responsibility for their reality without blame or judgment. They simply adjust their focus when needed.
So it's not about perfection. It's about gradually becoming more conscious of our creative role.
Precisely. We're all quantum creators already. Most people just don't know it yet. Now that we understand the theory, let's get practical. I want to share some simple exercises anyone can use today to start experiencing reality shifts firsthand.
That would be wonderful. I think our listeners are eager for some tangible practices they can try immediately.
Let's start with the quantum minute. Take 60 seconds, 3 times daily, to sit quietly and imagine energy flowing through your body. As you breathe in, visualize white light entering, and as you exhale, imagine releasing any limiting energy. This simple practice begins aligning your energy field with your intentions.
That sounds doable even for the busiest person. What about something for shifting specific situations?
Try the reality pivot. When facing a challenge, pause and ask, how would I experience this situation if I were already my ideal self? Then act from that perspective. It's amazing how quickly your experience shifts when you change your point of observation.
I love how accessible these exercises are. No special equipment, no complex routines, just focused awareness.
Exactly. The quantum field responds to simplicity and clarity. The most powerful practices are often the most straightforward. When we discuss quantum manifestation, we often focus on thoughts and visualization. But emotions are actually the rocket fuel of the entire process. Your emotions create powerful energy signatures that resonate throughout the quantum field.
I've noticed that myself. When I'm really excited about something, it seems to happen more easily than when I'm just thinking about it logically.
Exactly, Terry. Emotions literally change your biochemistry. When you feel gratitude, joy, or excitement about something you desire, you're not just thinking about it. You're actually tuning your entire physical system to that frequency.
What about negative emotions? Many of us struggle with anxiety or doubt when trying to manifest something important.
That's where emotional awareness becomes crucial. Negative emotions aren't bad. They're information. When you notice fear or doubt arising, simply acknowledge it without judgment. Then gently redirect your focus to the feeling of your desire being fulfilled.
So for beginners, a good starting point would be...
Take 5 minutes daily to generate the feeling of already having what you want. Your brain and quantum field don't distinguish between a vividly imagined emotion and a real one. Both create the same energetic signature. As powerful as these quantum principles are, many people experience resistance when they first begin applying them. It's completely natural. Our brains are designed to protect our existing reality, even when we consciously want change.
I think that's why so many people try these techniques and give up. What exactly causes this resistance at a quantum level?
It's primarily about coherence. When a new belief contradicts your existing energy pattern, you experience internal conflict. Your conscious mind says, I can create my reality. But your subconscious says, that's not how the world works. This creates quantum interference that blocks manifestation.
So how can beginners work through this resistance?
Start with small wins. Rather than trying to manifest something huge right away, practice with things that feel believable. If you successfully manifest a parking space or a pleasant interaction, you build quantum confidence. Each success creates evidence that breaks down resistance.
I love that approach. Building your quantum muscles gradually rather than trying to lift too much weight at once.
Exactly. And remember, resistance itself is information. When you feel doubt or disbelief, don't fight it. Get curious about which belief is causing the block. Then you can work specifically with that limiting belief. As our understanding of quantum consciousness grows, there are several exciting research directions emerging. One particularly promising area is the study of coherent neural oscillations and how they might create quantum effects within the brain.
That sounds fascinating. Are there any current studies exploring this connection between our brains and quantum mechanics?
Absolutely. Researchers at several universities are using advanced imaging techniques to observe potential quantum effects in neural networks. They're finding evidence that consciousness might actually operate at the quantum level, especially in the microtubules within neurons.
I imagine it's challenging to study something so subtle. What do you think will be the most practical applications of this research?
The most exciting aspect is how this research might transform our understanding of human potential. If we can definitively prove that our thoughts create quantum effects, we could develop much more precise techniques for everything, from accelerated learning, to healing trauma, to enhancing creativity.
It seems like we're just at the beginning of understanding our own minds. Where do you see this field in 10 years?
I believe we'll have developed technology that can actually measure and map thought-created quantum fields. This would revolutionize both neuroscience and physics, creating an entirely new understanding of consciousness as a fundamental force in the universe.
Well, we've covered an incredible amount of ground today. From understanding the basics of quantum thought to practical techniques like visualization, meditation, and affirmations. Dr. Bateman, what would you say are the key takeaways for our listeners who are just beginning to explore these concepts?
I think the most important thing to remember is that this isn't about perfection, it's about practice. Start small. Even 5 minutes of daily meditation or visualization can begin shifting your reality. Your thoughts truly do influence your experience, and becoming aware of that influence is the first step to harnessing it.
I love that emphasis on starting small. Any final advice for someone who might be skeptical about these concepts?
Be experimental, rather than judgmental. Try these techniques for 2 weeks and simply observe what happens. The science supports these principles, but your own experience will be the most convincing evidence.
Before we wrap up, I ask this question to all my guests. What's one simple practice that changed your life the most?
Daily gratitude. Without question, spending just 3 minutes each morning acknowledging what I'm thankful for has completely transformed how I experience reality. It's quantum creation in its simplest form.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. To our listeners, remember, your mind is more powerful than you know. Until next time, this is Terry with Mind Matters. Keep thinking, keep creating, and keep exploring the quantum nature of your consciousness.